Okay. Good afternoon, and welcome to the RAISE webinar, Empowering Youth Engagement, Insights from the RAISE mini projects.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I'm going to explain how to use several features that Zoom offers. To use closed captioning, please click on the CC, like it's shown on the screen, and you will have the captions displayed over there on your screen. We also have interpretation to Spanish. Para utilizar la interpretación en español, van a ver en la banda o cinta negra un globo que indica Interpretation. Haga clic allí y luego seleccionan donde dice Español. Y donde dice Mute Original Audio. Esto último filtra completamente la señal en inglés para que puedan escuchar con claridad a nuestro intérprete de hoy, Orlando González. We also have American Sign Language interpretation. We have already pinned our interpreter, so for your ease. And then I want to move it to, our next slide. So it's a reminder what the RAISE Center is. We provide technical assistance to support youth and young adults with disabilities and their families during transition. And we do this through webinars, newsletters, different resources, summits, all the products. And yeah, I'm gonna pass the torch to Josie, who's gonna introduce the webinar.
Hello, everyone. For some reason, it appears that the screen is jumping every once in a while. Miriam, I'm not sure what that is. But welcome everyone today. We were so excited to have everyone back to talk about the RAISE mini grants. My name's Josie, and I am the project director for the RAISE Center, which, as Miriam says, works with parent centers who work with families and youth on transition. And we put out these mini grant applications last fall. And what was required is that parent centers could apply, and the money would go towards working with young adults with disabilities to develop a product. We got amazing results and ended up using additional fund money to support additional applicants, because who can say no to more folks wanting to work with youth with disabilities? And so from those projects, we got lots of products, but we also got new faces, new youth being involved, and more folks feeling more comfortable with the ability to work with youth. And some have even carried out youth events since then. One thing that RAISE did during the time was that we provided technical assistance to any of the centers that received a grant. They could get support from one of our Yeti youth leaders. And I think that that was a key component of the work that was done. And so I'm really excited to hear more about what products were developed and really what you guys learned from the whole process. So turning it over to you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing, and then we have the Federation.
Am I all set to share, Miriam?
Yes,
Okay.
you can share.
So slide this toolbar right out of the way.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Daughtry, and I am the Transition Coordinator at the Federation for Children with Special Needs. Oops. Awesome. So we'll start by introducing FCSN's Youth Advisory Board. So I'll start off at the top. So we have Andrew, Arlene, Austin, Luigi, Garnet, Kamisha, oopsies. Garnet, Kamisha, Maddie, Ned, Olivia, and Tatiana. So about our Youth Advisory Board, this began in August of 2024. So over the summer, my coworker, Maddie Evans, did a lot of research, took a lot of time meeting with different organizations to kind of figure out how to even build a youth advisory board from scratch. So after all of that research, we were able to have 10 members from across Massachusetts, from across Massachusetts with different life experiences. The current members are between the ages of 20 to 32 years old. They receive a monthly stipend for their work, and some of the things that they do for us are panels about transition topics with FCSN and other organizations that they are associated with. They play a very vital role in organizing and staffing FCSN conferences and events, two of those being our biannual Planning a Life conferences and our Youth Visions of Community conference as well. They help to create content, facilitate social events for other youth, and provide feedback on FCSN's work. So the project decision process, we proposed a webinar where the YAB members would be able to give testimonies on topics of their choice. Presented to the YAB with 4 different topics. We offered them topics on what I wish I knew before transition, seeking employment as a person with disabilities, community building and friendship, and transportation. And through ranked choice voting, they decided that they wanted to do their webinar on transportation. With making the webinar, I'm just going to select this over. With making the webinar, each YAB member had several one-on-one meetings to prepare their testimony and coordinate topics that would be covered. In a YAB meeting, members shared their topics and draft testimonies, received helpful feedback from Sean Spence at Yeti. Testimonies were also recorded over Zoom meetings. Videos were then edited, captioned, and uploaded to FCSN's YouTube channel. We also got the opportunity to promote this webinar in our upcoming summer newsline. So if you guys are looking for access to that, you are able to find it on the FCSN website. And also the mini grant has gone towards sustaining stipends and in-person planning and bonding as well. The topics covered within this webinar, navigating public transportation with different disabilities, driving as a hearing impaired person, accessible rideshare services, and the pros and cons associated with that, the challenges of unreliable transportation as a person with many commitments, journey to becoming more independent with transportation, travel training, city walkability, and accessing everyday needs, ideas for the future of transportation access, and more. And so because our webinar is about 45 to 48 minutes long, I won't be able to show you guys, but this is the link and I can copy and paste that in the chat for anybody that would like to access it. And I can stop sharing.
Yeah, you just did.
Awesome.
Perfect. So we have 7 teams presenting today. The first one was the Federation for Children with Special Needs. Now we have the LIAC, the Long Island Center, Advocacy Center.
Oops, Anna, it stopped sharing. But I'm going to start talking because our time is so limited. Hello, everyone. My name is Helene Fallon, and I'm the project co-director for the New York State Region 1 Collaborative, PTIC. And we handle at Long Island Advocacy Center, the Long Island Coalition, and we're together with New York City, so downstate. What we chose to do was reach out to some of our youth that we work with to talk about their experiences in post-secondary education and in competitive employment. So the participants each have had different experiences. Some went to post-secondary school programs, some went to certification programs, others are just working in wonderful places that they are enjoying, and others have had challenges as they go through their different employment experiences. So we had a great opportunity. We made a 22-minute video. We also have a 9-minute abbreviated, and for today, we cut it down to about 5.5 minutes. So I don't have much time, but we are very focused and committed to transition. We work closely with our Independent Living Center, with our state-funded centers for families and for professional development for our schools. The video was put on our website and distributed to our listserv of a little over 12,000. So we've got lots of hits, lots of people that have watched it, and you can go to the next slide, Anna. Oh, good. Okay. And then we're going to play the short version, and I hope you will go back to watch the longer one. We will also put that link in the chat. The sound, yeah, you got the speaker. There we go.
I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way.
I've worked in the field of special education for over 20 years and have had the honor of working with numerous young adults that have successfully transitioned from school to competitive employment and independent living. In today's video, you will meet 4 of those young adults that will share their experiences and their dreams of how they've transitioned into a productive and enjoyable life, the life that we all strive for. Currently, the New York State Education Department is actively revisiting their diploma requirements here in New York State, with the hope of ensuring that all students, including those with differing abilities, are able to achieve diploma status, which opens up so many opportunities to meet their post-secondary goals. They have funded a technical assistance network that have regional programs across the state that focus on providing training to professionals, to families, to community members, all focused on improving outcomes for students. This network, known as the Office of Special Education Partnership, works in collaboration with the New York State Parent Training and Information Centers. Each network has transition specialists that work on ensuring students understand what self-advocacy is, what self-determination is, and the importance of being educated in the least restrictive environment. These skills are what this video is all about. Thank you to the National RAISE Project, to all of our amazing participants, and to all of you that work with students with differing abilities. Please meet our friends, Jessica, Sasha, Frankie, and Michael, who was the person that was singing in our awesome entertainment as this video began. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
But what were your hopes and dreams when you were back in high school, when you were thinking about what you wanted to do? What were your hopes and dreams back then?
And so I wanted to be a geologist. And so I took a lot of science classes. And so some of my hopes and dreams were definitely to go to like a good college, because like my parents went to college. And so like that was kind of something that was important to me, and to be able to meet friends and to be able to sort of meet people and get like a good job. But I think mostly in high school, it was to like have friends that will last.
Prior to, it was my last year of my high school, I was a super senior. My dream was to actually get a high school diploma and to actually get a full-time job working in Manhattan. That was really what I wanted to do. It was really a dream of mine, and I wanted to pursue that.
Why did you want to go to Manhattan?
Well, to work with my father. He and I worked for the same billionaire that owned Revlon.
Oh.
2, so this way I could be able to make money, so I could be able to afford a condo or an apartment rather,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great.
Modeling and fashion and marriage.
My hope and dream was to become a famous writer.
Oh, do you feel like any of your dreams have come true?
I did. That was last summer. I won Employee of the Month. That ended the second quarter of 2024 on a wonderful note, I would say.
Sure did.
It was a dream come true to actually get that. It was one of my goals at
Good.
work, really. So that was
Good,
something I
good.
wanted to achieve in my life.
One of them did. I'm glad that one of the dreams that actually came true was getting 2 part-time jobs.
Working towards achieving your goals and getting a job and
Mhm.
doing all the things that you do. What do you feel like your biggest lesson learned was? And what I'm saying with that is there anything, let's use that specific of you applying for jobs and looking
Yeah.
for something. Is there anything that you remember that you learned as you applied for jobs, went for interviews? Is there something in particular?
The earlier you learn how to advocate for yourself, the better. So I was really glad I learned in high school. They kind of drilled it into us. They're like, you need to advocate for your needs. You need to advocate. And I found that was really helpful. So I was able to advocate a lot in college if I needed stuff.
Stay true to yourself.
Having hope and trying my best to my abilities.
Maybe never giving up.
Yeah, never giving up.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's what I was hearing you say.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's a really important lesson, right? Is we can get
Yes.
so frustrated and it's so easy to give up sometimes, but if you
But
keep,
with everything, like when you're getting back down, you can always get back up again.
that's right.
And I did it my way.
Thank you so much. I know my time is up, so we didn't get a chance to switch it back after we moved it back to 7. So I apologize, but thank you so much. Please watch the full video. It's amazing. And thank you for the opportunity to pull this together. Every single one of our participants were just fantastic. So thanks again.
Eileen, was a wonderful way to end your time. Beautiful ending with that song at the end of the song. All right, now we have Impact, Miss Tori, Parent Center.
Share my screen. Alrighty. Hello, my name is Lily Ricketts. I am the Youth Engagement Coordinator with Impact. With this opportunity with Raise, our group, My Voice, was able to not only create this video that I will show you in a moment, but also it allowed us to work on some things that we initially wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to do. But with My Voice, it stands for Missouri Youth Voices of Independent and Collective Education. Our main goals are to help individuals learn to lead and advocate for themselves, help other youth find their voices and become strong leaders, as well as help impact, improve their youth programming. Some of the things we do and have been up to, we hold monthly meetings, deciding group actions, presenting to different youth and professionals. We learn from opportunities like Raise and Yeti. We have presented at Missouri Statewide Transition Training Institute for the 2nd year. We've presented at Regional Transition Network events, as well as some of us in our group with My Voice, we are Impact Mentors. I will show you our project.
My Voice stands for Missouri Youth Voices of Independent Collective Education. What we do is we encourage transition age students to speak up in their IEP meetings in terms of what they need or accommodations. We always tell these kids to never ever be afraid to use your voice. We teach them be calm and listen to what your teachers have to say. If they ask if you have any questions, then that's when you ask your questions. Just don't be afraid to think of any questions during your meeting.
What is an IEP?
You're wondering what an IEP is. An IEP is to make sure students, families, or school staff know what the educational program will be like for the student.
An IEP is a legal binding document that includes the following 4 parts. 1. A present level of performance. 2. Accommodations and modifications. 3. Goals. And 4. Services.
Hi, my name is Emmett. I am 20 years old and I'm a former high school student.
Hi, my name is Jeff. I am 17 years old and I am a recent high school graduate, graduating this past December.
Hi, my name is Dakota. I'm 22 years old. I'm also a high school graduate of 6 years. I currently work at a hospital as a materials technician.
Today we are here to talk to you about student-led IEPs.
What is a student-led IEP?
It is a way for you to discuss and present your strengths, needs, and goals to your parents and school personnel at your IEP meeting.
Did you have an IEP, and what was it?
Yes, I had an IEP, and my IEP states that I have a math learning disability, but up until 7th grade, I was in a basic English class. And going into 8th grade, I was pulled out of basic English and put into Gen Ed English because I excelled better in English than I did math.
I had an IEP. It was for reading and writing, and the way it affected me was I didn't have the confidence to do everything else that all the other students were doing.
How do you feel about your IEP?
Back in 4th grade, I had a science teacher that refused to excuse me from assignments due to my intensive therapy sessions in the morning. My worst grade that year was science because my teacher refused to accommodate my 504 and my IEP.
The way the IEP affected me in class was I didn't have the confidence to do my work in class alone. I had to go to the special education room so that way it can be broken down and explained to me differently and more efficiently so that way I can understand it better.
What advice do you have about IEPs?
My one piece of advice to you is that if you're ever feeling scared in an IEP, just ask an adult around you, what does this mean or what does that mean? Don't be afraid to speak up or say, no, this is wrong, or yes, I need this.
What I'd like other people to know about the IEP is that it's okay to speak out if you need extra help and have them explain it to you differently where you can better understand it, because if you don't understand it the first time the way they explain it, you won't be able to use it in your regular life. And so you need to be able to speak up and understand it fully in your head.
Meet the My Voice team. Jeff, Lily, Dakota, Maddie, and Tyler. Our team would like to say thank you to the following organizations. Youth Engagement Now. Raise. Impact. And gcomeffects.com.
I'll pause it right there. But with this grant, it enabled us to not only work together as a team, but we also had so much fun with it, and we were super glad to have this chance. But I will stop sharing. There you go.
Thank you, Lily. Wonderful. And we'll have some time for the Q&A at the end. It was a beautiful presentation. Let's continue with our fourth presenter, Ohio, Michael.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. Not sure how I'm going to top all these presentations. Amy, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Amy Freeman, and I am the Ohio Coalition for the Education of Children with Disabilities um, transition specialist for all of Ohio. And we had the good opportunity back in the winter to get involved with the Race Center through the mini grant. And I'm so appreciative of Josie's guidance on what is going to make sense for the work that Ohio is trying to do. And just a note about what Ohio is trying to do is to create a statewide multi-agency youth advisory council. And we'd been meeting for about 8 months at the time that when this grant was available. And we were not moving very quickly in our work. So with Josie's guidance and then with Everett and Michael, who is Ohio's self-advocate through Yeti, that just the world opened up for our connections with youth and young adults. And I'll let Michael take over now.
Yeah, so what this ended up being was we went to a high school. We went to Whitmer High School, and we asked them questions about what it's been like for them, transition-wise. And so we had a video made. It's "We Want to Be Heard: The Voices of Whitmer High School." When youth voice is heard, real change happens. And I will go to the next slide. As previously stated, I'm Michael Ewer. I'm a part of Yeti, Amy Freeman, OCECD, or the Ohio Coalition for Children with Disabilities, sorry. And this is a quick preview of the video. This is actually on the Raise website. Pull up the preview. Transitioning to adulthood is more than just graduation. It's about jobs, independence, and finding your voice. But challenges like self-advocacy, social skills, and accessing support remain. In this video, you will hear what youth have to say. When youth voice is heard, real change happens. I'm Michael Ewer. I live in Sandusky, Ohio. I'm a youth advocate and member of Yeti.
And I am Everett Deibler, the Youth Engagement Coordinator for the Raise Center, and Michael and I had the amazing opportunity to do a focus group about special ed transition with students from Whitmer High School in Ohio.
Better transition planning, hands-on job experiences, and knowing where to find these resources can make all the difference. Let's talk about what works, what needs to improve, and how to be truly prepared for the future. When you hear the word transition planning, does anything come to mind?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Graduation.
Like
Graduation?
graduation,
Okay.
a diploma, all that stuff, getting my grades in.
Yep. Getting a job. Getting a job, alright. Anyone else?
Getting a driver's license.
Driver's license, I'm still not ready to do that.
Getting a family, getting a house,
Yeah.
a car.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't get anxious. I just look at it as planning for what's coming first. I just look at it as looking ahead on what I have to do.
Okay. How prepared do you feel for life after high school, and how does that make you feel?
Ready for certain things and also not ready for things that haven't been taught yet.
Okay. And what
do you feel ready for?
Getting a job, definitely.
Okay. What kind of job do you want? Do you know?
I was wanting to be like an engineer.
Okay.
No, not an engineer, like a person who works on bikes. And if that doesn't work out, I would plan on being a chef.
Okay. Okay. And you had mentioned some that there are a couple things that you didn't feel prepared for. Do you mind sharing with us what some of those are?
Being out with other people because I'm socially awkward and I'm trying to fix that. I'm willing to work on it.
No, that's great. I love to hear.
What I was thinking about after I was thinking like working at the zoo to like
Working at the zoo. I like that.
Look, I feel like I'm really prepared. I just look at it as opening a new chapter of life.
Okay. I like that.
What you just watched was only a preview of our full video project on Youth Perspectives. In the full version, we dive deeper into what young people really need to succeed, from being heard and included to having time, support, and access to real opportunities. We explore how centering youth voices, breaking down barriers, and encouraging adult engagement can turn transition planning into a powerful, student-led journey. Because this isn't just a conversation, it's a blueprint for change.
And I think that's the big point that we wanted to make, that it's a blueprint for change. Listening to what they have to say, oops, go to the next slide. Listening to what they have to say and how we can then learn and make that change possible. Amy, do you have anything to add to that?
The only thing I want to say is from this, we've now had our first in-person youth young adult event where the youth said for the first time they were being asked what was important to them. So we're making some headway. So that's pretty awesome.
Yes, and I think it was really exciting to see, especially at Whitmer, how everyone was so comfortable talking. We really made a safe space that they felt comfortable talking. I think that's one of the most important things to do. So, I think we previously talked about how we'll take questions at the end, so we'll hold off on those for now, and hope you have some. And then here are some links for the 3 parts of the videos. It was a little long, so we broke it into 3 sections, and I will share this presentation in the chat. And then this is Amy and I's contact information.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. And Lauren posted over there the versions, the long version and the short version of the webinar, of your video over there. So thank you. So we have 3 more teams that I want to be presenting, and our next team is Pathfinder of North Dakota. So if you can come.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Miriam. So my name is Misty Boley Clementich. I am the program director at Pathfinder Services of North Dakota. I can't talk and share, so hopefully that, Michael, tell me if that's showing or not.
It is.
Perfect. So when we had the opportunity to receive this mini grant, I am also the facilitator for the Youth Point of View, which is our youth advocacy group here in North Dakota. And we sat down and talked about what do we do with this? What do we look at? Where do we want to go? What are some ideas? So the first one that came out are tips for advocacy. We had a young adult who was still in high school at the time and was getting lots of requests for presentations and speaking and things like that. And he felt like when he was running into peers in the hallways and they would ask him a question, he's like, I guess I just need something to give them. Like, are they going to read it? Where are they going to go with this? And so we said, well, let's just start pulling this together. So my role as the adult is to sit back and let them take the lead, right? And that's what they did. They came up with, as a young adult with a disability, what did I need to learn? What do I still need to learn? And how can I express that to those around me? So they came up with creating 2 resources because, again, they wanted it to be a quick, easy, shareable product. We have other webinars and things on our website, but this one they really looked at wanting to be able to share. So the young adult who kind of spearheaded this, he wanted to be able to give it to the teachers in the school. He would literally pull them out of his backpack and hand it to his friends in the transition room and things like that. We've shared this with all of the special education teachers across North Dakota. We've included it in presentation packets. We've shared it with our advisory group to get feedback and kind of just looking at ideas and results and thinking about things from a youth standpoint. So the other one that they created was communication. So they're also working on a communication webinar, so kind of tying again that resource in with the webinar. And it really kind of made sense that we talk so much about student-led IEP, right? And them using their voice and reaching out and self-advocating. But yet what we were hearing was a lot of the youth don't really know how to communicate, especially when you're talking to those in power and principals and, those that may be a little intimidating. As adults, we even struggle. But then we're telling these young adults to go out and use your voice and speak up for yourself. But so then we took a step back and thought, okay, if we want to be a good self-advocate, then we've got to learn how to communicate. So that's where this one was built from. I was not involved in the meetings. Our past executive director was involved with the meetings with Amanda, one of the representatives from Yeti, as well as Everett, I believe, to kind of review these and talk about them. And we try so hard to make everything inclusive and easy to understand and put things in a perspective. And one thing that Amanda brought up were colors. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we totally missed that. So it was interesting to take feedback, bring it back to the group, have the youth talk about it. And then they were then in charge of going to the person on staff that did the formatting and talking through that. So of course, I'm always proud of what they do. But it was really fun to watch them think through this process, how to put it together, deal with criticism, right? Because you're getting criticism, good or bad, but it was very good criticism and ideas, how to process that. And then again, go back to another adult staff member to talk about formatting and changes and all of that. So that is what we were able to do. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
And Misty, this
Oh,
is Everett.
Everett, yes.
I'll just say that one of the things that we tried to do with all these projects with the Yeti members that were a part of it was to match them with young adults who could give real feedback. So Amanda talked about the colors, but is also a 23-year-old new special education teacher who is living and doing IEPs as a disabled employee and teacher. And so she was eager to provide this feedback in the way that she did, but all the other matching that we did was very purposeful. So I appreciate that. Holden, who is a member of POV, is also a Yeti member, that he allowed Amanda to come in and say, what about this? What about that? What about this? And so we really tried to match it up well across what people wanted or what they needed in their projects. So
well, and I don't even know if allowed. It was interesting to have the conversations afterwards, because even Holden, being part of Yeti, was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I think about dyslexia because he has dyslexia, or the hearing part. He goes, I didn't even think about the vision part. So it was a learning opportunity to watch them process through this, and it was great. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you. Thank you, North Dakota Finder. So we have two more presenters. The next one is going to be the PTI from Nebraska. So
Hi, Jen here. Let me, like Misty, I have a hard time talking and sharing. So let me try to share. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much for letting us share today. I'm super excited. So this was the first time that we had worked on a project like this, and just was so much fun. As you can see, like Ray's project, like I was just super excited to share about this. So what we did is we worked with 11 students in a life and career readiness class. This class was at a high school in Bellevue, Nebraska, at the Bellevue West High School. And it was all seniors in this class, and they all received special education services. So this class, I love this class. I wish this class existed at every high school, but it helps prepare students for life after high school and focuses on employability skills, self-advocacy, self-determination, working on lots of different independent living skills like money management, budgeting, all these things that our youth are going to have to do, after high school. So for this project, they decided to focus on preparing for work, which was perfect, right? And they decided they were going to learn about their disabilities, and then they were going to describe their strengths, which is huge for me. I just think it's so wonderful, when they, truly are learning about their strengths, and how they can utilize those and how other people see them, not just themselves. Describe their specific needs and challenges. That was super important because it's one thing to say, like one student, like, I have autism. Okay, but what are your needs associated with autism? Or I have ADHD. Okay, but what are your needs? What are your challenges associated with that? Really trying to help them understand that it's all about the needs, right? Like, what is their need? And how can you get that need met? And they've heard it probably many times, but like, one student with autism is one student with autism, one student with ADHD is one student. And so really pinpointing like, what is their specific need? And then they had to look at information about disclosing their disability. Go over like the pros and cons and what that means and what that could sound like and when they might need to do that. And then they researched what appropriate and reasonable accommodations can be provided in the workplace based on their needs. And the resource that was a huge help to them was the JAN, Job Accommodation Network. I have loved JAN for years. And so I was super excited that that was going to be like, hey, we're going to focus on this because this is just good stuff. It is great stuff. And so they had to research, what JAN was, and then look at what accommodations would help them on JAN. They found articles, lists, lots of helpful information. So what they developed was a publication, front and back 2-page, and it's called In My Shoes. And these are their shoes. Yay! I was pretty excited that they did that. But so it's In My Shoes, and it's the youth point of view of workplace accommodations. And so this is the front of it. And again, they talked about what advocating is, and then all the information they wanted people to know about the JAN Accommodation Network, because there's so many people that don't know about JAN. And a lot of parents, out there, guardians, caretakers don't know about JAN. And so it was really cool being able to kind of focus on that. And then they kind of have in their own words, why they think the JAN resource was great. And so that's kind of right here in the middle. And I did give them the option of they could give their first and last name, the first name and a letter, just a first name, or they could be anonymous. And so we wanted them completely comfortable with everything that they did. I just wanted to say, I love all your guys' videos. We did ask if anybody wanted to do videos, but everyone felt more comfortable putting together handout and quotes and all like the interviews and filling out the sheets. But I love everybody's videos. So then after learning about their disabilities, then they had to come up with at least 2. And just so you know, most, came up with more than 2, but because we really wanted this to be a 2-page handout, kind of a front and back, we tried to say, okay, could like 2, maybe 3 if we could fit that on there. But several came up with, a whole bunch more, but we wanted to just give, a sample about what they found and what they thought was just so wonderful about the website. So that's what you see in all of these squares. these are the students, and again, if they wanted their name or anonymous, but this is just based on the research, the list they found on the Job Accommodation Network, and a couple found articles too that could help them. And so I thought it was just great. And they have a nice variety, you know, about extra time and someone demonstrating things to me, someone else, you know, one-on-one communication. I need positive feedback, color coding. Several of them said color coding is huge for them, to keep them organized, to help outline things for them. Like that's just big. That was a big one that came up. Checklist was big too, you know, written instructions, really having those visual aids. That was great. Breaks and the idea of having mentors or job coaches, that came up too. But yeah, just having a schedule or a flow chart, again, going back to kind of those visuals was big. And then at the bottom, they just had some final thoughts. And I really like those. Each person with the disability is unique and has their own strengths and challenges. Ask for help whenever you need help. That was a big thing. I think I always say, asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. So, you know, own that strength. It's okay to ask for help. And I love that, like, they came up with these on their own, you know, ask for help whenever you need it. What works for one person may not work for another. Being different can help you be true to yourself. Not everyone has to be the same, and it's okay to be different. Because they came up with a lot of different ideas, and it's okay, right? Like, oh, should I have color coded things? Do you need color coded things? And it's like, it's okay. They learned all their needs are so different, and it's okay to be different, and it's okay to need different accommodations and to ask for them. And then last but not least, being different isn't bad. It's just unique. So yeah, that was what they came up with. We actually are working on another one, just a little bit more about self-advocacy, and it's going to be called, you know, In My Shoes as well, and just a little bit more about that. And so when we get that done, I can share that with you all as well. But I, again, loved this class. I love that they focus on that. I think it was wonderful that they were like, hey, yeah, preparing for work. Let's go for it. And they did a really great job. And I think they learned a lot. And I learned a lot from them, and really appreciated, you know, their hard work on everything. And I'm excited to do more. This was such a great experience.
Thank you, Jen. That was wonderful. I love those workplace accommodations and tips. Yeah, from Nebraska PTI. And we have our last presenter today is Vermont Family Network. So we have Krista here in the room.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Excuse me. Okay, let me share. Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Krista Siringo with the Vermont Family Network, small but mighty here in Vermont. We actually, I'm our transition family consultant. We don't, in our organization, do much to work directly with youth. We work with a lot of partner organizations that do. So this grant was a great opportunity for us to flex those youth engagement muscles a little bit. And thank you for this opportunity. So I'm going to kind of quickly go through our presentation. Hang on one second here. Okay, so we had 3 goals for this project, which the first one was to really build community, and probably the most important one, because I think we recognize that friendship and belonging is so important to everyone, especially for young folks with disabilities who might be looking for ways to connect with one another. We also wanted to give them a chance to use their voice in a direct way to result in something really tangible. And we wanted that result to be a resource about transition that was reflective of their experience and that would also resonate with other youth. So our initial idea was to develop a short film about some aspect of transition. And we connected with Everett, and I think it was Hunter, and I talked through with them some of my ideas of how to work through this with a group of youth, and they had some great feedback for me on a process that would really incorporate their thinking. And I really appreciated that opportunity because this was kind of a new thing for me and for our organization. So we recruited participants from some of our partner organizations, primarily a youth advocacy council that is run by our Voc Rehab department, and then also through word of mouth. We had 6 youth who participated, and they were a mix of college and high school students, and then one person who had graduated high school and was working and living at home. And so originally I thought, well, we'll spend a little time talking about content and then we'll work together on the film. But what I realized after we had our first meeting was that they really just wanted to share their thoughts and ideas on what transition meant to them. They were less interested in the actual making of the film. And so that was great for me to just have the experience of sitting back and letting them take the lead. And at that first meeting, just really giving space for them to get to know each other and to share some general ideas about what transition meant to them. In our second meeting, we talked more about developing actual content. So if we wanted to talk about transition with other youth and their families, what sort of content would they think would be important? Then I went back and worked with some of our staff to develop the film using a great and easy to use resource called Biteable. And then at the third meeting, they provided feedback on that. And we did some more editing before we had the final product. So when we did that initial brainstorming, these are some of the topics that they identified when they thought of the word transition. And we really talked about it as like, what does adulting mean to you? And so these are topics that we've heard in some of the other presentations as well. And these are the ones that they identified as being pretty key to what they were thinking about as they moved into adulthood. And then we used a fun tool called Mentimeter, and we tried out different ways of using different technologies and allowed the youth to figure out what way would work best for them to participate. So with Mentimeter, some people wrote in the chat how they would rank order these different topics that they'd originally come up with. Some people shared verbally with me how they wanted to rank it, and others did the ranking directly in the poll. So we played around with these different tools, which I think was fun, and also a way to visually represent what topics of that original list that they were most interested in highlighting in this resource. And then we used another aspect of Mentimeter to think about the top 3 topics. So the first number 1 topic was health. And then within that really broad category, what were some key components of health that they were thinking about in their own lives and what they thought would be important to share with other young people. So those 3 topics were health, housing, and transportation. And this slide just shows you some examples of the kinds of things within those 3 topics that came up for them when we did that kind of deeper drill down into the content. So this really helped me. Oh, and before I then went back to kind of try to come up with a representation visually of what we talked about. We looked at another short film from the Got Transition website, which is an incredible resource that focuses specifically on medical transitions, but which is a big part of lots of folks' transition to adulthood, especially people with disabilities. And we looked at this film and we talked about the components in that film that they liked and that they didn't like, and that they felt like for whatever we created, they really wanted to make sure was also in what we produced. And so there were some elements that were really important to them, and they are here on this slide. So they wanted to make sure that anything that we created had a diverse representation of folks, both in terms of disability and cultural and ethnic representation, that it had minimal text, that there were audio descriptions, that it was presented in plain language, and that it had a slower pace. So we took all of that and came up with this film that I will see if I can share. And before I do, since that's the last piece I have, I just want to give a shout out to the folks that participated, and they all give permission to use their names. But I love the 2 quotes of their what they shared as far as what they got out of being in this project. You know, one of the participants in particular was very quiet at the beginning, didn't have her camera on. And by the end, she was chatty, she was showing us her dog, and she really got engaged and connected with the other participants. And to me, that meant almost more than the actual final product, was that connection they made with one another. Okay, so let's see if I can share this. Oh, you know what? I might need to stop and then start so you can hear the video. Hang on one moment. I'm going to try this one more time. Thanks for your patience. Okay. All right, and this is just under 2 minutes long.
Means taking on more responsibility for many things, including your own.
Let me get right to the beginning. And Miriam, can you just tell me if you could hear that volume?
Yes,
okay?
we can hear it.
Okay, great.
Becoming an adult means taking on more responsibility for many things, including your own physical, mental, and emotional health. This means actively participating in decisions and actions about things like exercise and nutrition, healthy relationships, and managing stress. This is important for everyone, whether or not you have a disability. During childhood, parents or caregivers help with your healthcare needs, like scheduling appointments and keeping track of medications. When you turn 18, it will be up to you to make decisions about your own health care, although support is available if you need help with some of these responsibilities. As you become an adult, it is important to learn as much as you can about your body and what it needs to be healthy and well. For example, if you need help with daily living skills, you may need to learn how to hire and manage personal assistants. It's also important to learn what kind of exercise and nutrition is right for your body. Positive relationships, dating, and sexuality are also key parts of our health and well-being. And we can't forget mental health. Learning how to manage stress, relate to others, and make decisions is all part of learning how to take care of ourselves. Becoming an adult can be both exciting and overwhelming, but don't worry. There are many resources available to help you navigate the transition to adulthood and take on more responsibility for your self-care. Check out the Transition Toolkit on the Vermont Family Network website.
Okay, I know we're at the end of time here, so thank you so much for this chance to share.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you, all of you, 7 teams. I don't see any questions. I don't know if I missed anything, but I don't see any questions in the Q&A or.
If there are any questions, everyone, please put them in either the Q&A or in the chat at this time. We only have just a couple of minutes, but if there's anything, we would love to be able to answer it. And while we're waiting for any, I wanted to also just thank all of the groups that did these mini grants, all the youth that were involved, and for everyone speaking today. This was great. And I want you all to know that as you watch these videos and different materials coming out, these were not large grants at all. And so individuals put their hearts into this, and it was really getting them interested in working with youth that got it moving forward. It wasn't the money. That was just a little tiny kickoff to what they were doing. Yes, you will have access to this presentation in a few days. Once we get the recording back and can put everything, it will be sent out along with the PowerPoint. But then, as has been mentioned, all the videos and materials are on the RAISE website. Any final comments? Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and hope you are enjoying your summer. We'll see you again next one. Bye.
In August, yes, 18th.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.